Welcome to Trauma Recovery Out Loud, where we talk about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going in our trauma recovery journeys. Join us and get some insights and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. Let's go.
All right.
Glasses.
Oh,
We must
okay.
become
Get ready to be a blob.
blobs.
Ready?
Blob time.
And you're now blobs.
Ta-da!
Ha ha ha.
Stephanie and the Blobs sounds like some sort of band or something.
Hey now. As my mom used to say, I resemble that remark.
Stephanie and the blobs.
Yeah,
Is that like Josie and the Pussycats?
sure, why not?
Meow. Meow. Wait, who's which one of us is Josie?
I guess you.
Me? Do I look like a Josie?
I
No.
don't know, maybe Rochelle. She's got that rockin' hair.
Yeah, she's got the hair for it. I got a boring brown haircut. Yeah, well, welcome to the podcast. We're called
Trauma Recovery
Out Loud now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Rochelle Knapp.
Yeah, we're here tonight. It's been a couple weeks. We were supposed to record 2 weeks ago, but something came up, and then it was the holiday, and I said, you guys, I don't really want to work. I'm taking the week off. Could we just not? And you guys are like, yeah. So we didn't.
Yep.
And yeah, so we're back. We're gonna do at least a couple more for the end of this year.
Yeah.
Most likely we'll take a break, but we haven't really talked about it. Anyway, but yeah, we'll do a couple more, 2-3 more, and then see what happens for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
we're gonna talk about I know it's almost the end of the year. It's weird.
That's a super fast year.
Feels like it. Yeah. So we're going to talk about how we're in a place with trauma recovery where we will need therapy for a very long time.
Yeah.
So this is part of our Facing Reality series. Now, when we talked about it, we're like, I'll need therapy the rest of my life. But I said before we got on, it's like, well, I don't know if I can't necessarily say for the rest of my life because we don't really know. I mean, we could get a certain amount of, therapy done and just not need anymore or need not as much. But it is plausible, I think, to say that we'll need therapy for a very long time. And that should actually be a tool in your toolbox.
Yeah.
I think for dealing with your trauma. Not that we're trying to tell you what to do.
Right.
So please don't take it that way. But I have found for myself anyway, that I basically can't live without therapy.
Same.
I tried for most of 20 to 25 years handling things in a one-off. I thought like the first 2 to 3 times, I'll get through this, I'll get my healing, and then I'm done, and then I'll be good. And that kept up for 20 or 25 years, and I kept thinking, I'll do this with this person, and we'll work on this thing, and then I'll be good.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, about 8 or 10 years ago, I gotta tighten my thingy. It keeps falling. There we go. 8 or 10 years ago, I just came to this realization that I actually probably need to be in therapy long term. Like, I don't know that I could necessarily put an end date on how much I need or how long I should go, or I just know that right now in my life, and maybe for a very long time from here to whenever, that if I don't do therapy, I have a tendency to start heading the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it's this idea of it being long-term, coming to the fact that just as we talked about, like our mental health issues aren't just going to go away. And, I was thinking about how hard that is and how humbling that is. Because I grew up in a situation, and I'm trying to remember who gave me this idea. And I think it was a variety of sources, but that people who needed therapy were somehow like they were messed up, and you don't want to be messed up. It's only people that are messed up that need therapy. So I had this idea of, well, I don't want to be messed up, so I'm not going to need therapy. I'd heard people call psychologists, like they would talk about psychobabble and how psychotherapy and psychology were somehow lesser. And so I had all these ideas in my head. So when I actually needed to get help, it was like, okay, let me do this, get in there, get it done, get out, because I don't want to be one of those people.
Right.
So in fact, it was you, Steph, who was like, Ev, you should probably look into getting some therapy. And I was like, But you know what? By then, I had enough things hitting the fan to an extreme that I actually did it. Started the process, and I've been in it ever since. But the idea of it being long term for me has been letting go of preconceived ideas and realizing how many may still be there. Now, mostly they're gone because, why cling to a lie when you know it's a lie and when you see the good that comes? But I guess there's still that, like, wouldn't it be nice if I didn't need this?
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I want to hear Rochelle's thoughts on this, but I did want to say that as a student of psychology, I did get a degree, a bachelor's in psychology from University of Phoenix.
All right.
At any rate, I can verify that psychology and psychiatry, neuroscience, etc., anything to do with the brain or the mind, is not bunk.
No.
Now, there's been a lot of bunk in the field, but I think all sciences have that. Even mathematics has that. I mean, it's not the hard sciences, as they call them. They're not a monolith. They get stuff wrong all the time. I mean, how many times have we been fooled by archaeology? People trying to scam us,
Right.
So, Rochelle, do you have...
Yeah, I feel the same. I had the same idea that you had, Steph, that I get, go for a while, get my healing, and I'd be fine. And that's not how it works when you have complex trauma. Oh, what the heck just happened?
Uh-oh.
What just happened?
We lost the bun.
Where'd she go? Come back. Oh, dear.
What? Uh-oh, it's the great disappearing bun, Sean.
Wow.
Excuse us while we're having technical difficulties.
She's still not back.
She's still not back.
You have to do another verse. No. Oh, my goodness.
We could sing 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Da, 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 da. Oh. Cue Gen X childhood road trips.
Da, 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 da. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. Your name is my name too.
Is that Rochelle? Oh, that's Rochelle message again.
Whenever we go out, the people
always shout, there goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Da, 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 da.
Oh my goodness. You just never know what's going to happen on this podcast.
Yeah,
We could be going along, and then suddenly Bun Bun gets abducted or something, and we have to forge on.
Digital abduction.
As we, who knows? A ransom note baby coming in soon. Just be prepared
I
for
don't have
anything.
any money though, man. She's on her own.
I know, seriously.
If they want
that
sass,
was weird.
I can.
It suddenly said my. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she's suddenly back.
It said my camera was blocked for some reason. I just closed it and came back in. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. I have no idea what happened. That was really weird.
That's okay. We were entertaining ourselves with John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt
Okay.
and the Jeopardy thing song.
Okay.
Yeah. A little Gen X.
Little
Gen X moment.
So anyway, you were saying, Rochelle, about
that. Yeah. I basically thought the same thing. Like, I'll need to go therapy for a little while and then I'll be okay.
Right.
And that's not how it works when you have complex trauma. You're in it for the long haul. Because there's so many things that are messed up, as it were, as everyone said. Like, and I've heard that same idea when I was younger about people who were messed up needing therapy, and that it had some stigma. Like, all mental illness had this stigma attached to it for a long time. Anyway, in general, nowadays that's not the case. But back then, it was very much like, oh no, we don't need therapy. That's for people who are messed up or people who have serious problems. Come to find out, most of us have trauma.
If most of us have serious problems.
Most have serious problems, yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think the 90s was really the time when people started accepting. I'm trying to remember when Lexapro became, I think it was Lexapro. Was it Lexapro? No, what's that antidepressant that became popular in the 80s? Prozac started becoming popular in like the 80s and 90s, and people started thinking about their troubles more. I mean, I don't want to generalize too much, but it feels like previous generations kind of had a buck up and get on with it attitude.
Well, there wasn't time for that, except, when then horrible things would happen.
Yeah. But... And even someone that's sort of famous for being conservative that I don't listen to a whole lot. I don't want to say the person's name. I don't want to get in trouble. But there was a clip and they're like, you don't need therapy. You don't need this. You don't need to talk to people. You just need to do what you got to do. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Like,
yeah, seriously.
I think people need therapy in general if they're not handling their life well.
Yeah.
They may not need the kind of therapy I need, but they might need someone to talk to for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I think that might be like a major difference between me and the average person is they can do one-off therapy sessions. Like they can go for 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever and be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like a reset. I was thinking about how it's easy to think that you don't need it and that everything's great when you're doing great, or just in denial. But
define doing great, because a lot of people think they're doing great. They're like, I'm like,
it's like they're not really looking deeply. They don't really want to know how bad it actually is. I mean, we've talked about denial, and I suppose that's going to keep coming up because it's part of the process. You start seeing things about yourself that you don't want to be there. I think the immediate response is no. It's kind of like being told that someone you really care about died. No, that can't be true. No. But reality is still there. And, listening to people like that go, yeah, all I have to do is, because, I had that belief. In fact, the more I started to have problems, the more I started looking for help in self-help books, because I thought it was my job to fix myself. And anybody who's got, anybody who's okay and on top of things can figure out how to fix themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, the self-help book thing started in like the 60s and the 70s, right?
Went for a long time.
Still going strong.
Still going
strong.
I finally got rid of most of my self-help books because it would just devolve into this frustration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess they were good for that. But I realized I can't fix this.
I am not a grinder. I'm not someone who can like buck myself up and just do things like normal people can. I'm not, self-help books are just totally lost on me because nothing anybody ever tells me works for me in the way that they intend it to work. And I want to go back though to something Evelyn said that I also experienced, which was this notion that psychotherapy, psychology, whatever, was bunk, but also evil. I've heard that from certain Christian parties that it was anti-Christian. And there's certain groups that would basically say that all you need is God, all you need is prayer, all you need is a cross, all you need is Jesus, whatever. And yes, it's true, you do need all those things.
Right.
But like, and Evelyn and I were having this conversation the other day about medications. Excuse me. My feeling is medications are God-given.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that pharmaceutical companies don't do bad things or, you know, whatever, but I don't think pharmaceuticals are evil. I don't think vaccines are evil. It doesn't mean that some vaccines aren't bad for us, but I don't think they're evil in and of themselves.
Right.
So for me, psychology, therapy, whatever fits into that category. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's evil. Sometimes it's not helpful. Sometimes you have a bad therapist. I've had a couple in recent years that were bad for me eventually, or just right away. One guy in particular, I was trying to tell him why I needed therapy, and he got caught up in one thing I said and basically told me I was being a hypocrite. This was the first session.
Oh, wow.
He said to me, I said, so you think I'm being a hypocrite? And he goes, I see you're picking up what I'm putting down. And I'm like, I didn't do that because I was too scared. I was like, you know, I couldn't believe no therapist in my life had ever said anything of that nature to me. Even if he was right, you still don't come out and like tell a vulnerable person that sort of thing in a therapy session. Like,
right.
I didn't go back to that guy. I ended up with the one I have now, who I've been with for almost 3 years now. And he's kind of more of an intellectual guy. So, but he also is trained in addiction counseling, and he's actually the perfect person for me right now.
Yeah.
But in general, I would say my feelings about psychotherapy, psychology, etc., it is a real science. It's just more difficult to think of in the same way you think of, you know, chemistry or biology or whatever, because there's nothing physical to touch and manipulate. Right. It's more about feelings and thoughts and the way the brain works and what makes a person, which is genetics and nurture and nature and all those things. Right. So it's a little more difficult to substantiate and like quantify, but it doesn't mean that it's bunk.
Right. Yeah, I think as the sciences have matured, I guess I should say this particular science has matured. That's not really what I wanted to say.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Because it wasn't something that you could pour into a beaker and heat up or something. But now they're able to do brain scans. They're able to do things where they can see the effects of somebody who has come from a traumatic experience or trauma over time, the way a person with bipolar's brain looks versus a normal brain. And, we can see it. And I think for a lot of people, it really is true. I mean, we rely on our sight so much to give us information. Seeing is believing. But I think that it's always been, as you have said, Steph, there's mostly it's good, it's valid, then there are charlatans. Like with any
there are
science.
always charlatans in science and math.
But yeah, so when I came across this lady who has done study in neuroscience, and she was talking back when they thought that you couldn't change the mind once it got to a certain level, you couldn't fix the brain. She was going, well, she actually used a Christian standpoint about being transformed by the renewing of your mind, and she thought there must be a way to change these things. And she was talking about that in the 80s. And now over time, you can see it. You see like the little trees that grow. And if a person has a healthy mind, their little trees look healthy. It looks like trees inside the brain, the neuro, I start to talk and then I lose it. The neurons and all of that healthy structures you can literally see now in the brain. And you can also see where they're stunted and shriveled. And what's really cool.
Yeah, go ahead. What's really cool?
Is that you can create more of the healthy trees over time too. It's not like, well, like let's say us, well, you're in your 50s, good luck.
It gets hard. It gets harder as you get older, for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, the brain mapping with the neuroimaging, that functional MRIs, what have you, does definitely have made some advances and made psychology, neuroscience, etc., more plausible, more believable, over time. And the brain mapping is definitely helpful in that way. And something I wanted to add to what you're saying, Evelyn, is they call the brain being plastic, which means changeable. And you can't, okay, so something we've talked about before is this idea that your brain develops a certain way in response to whatever's going on in your environment. Like, you're genetically predisposed to certain things, like your personality, for example. But a lot of it is your environment. And so if you're in a traumatic environment, your brain is going to build those trees you mentioned based on, I'm like waving my hands, but that's all I hear. It's going to build those trees based on what's going on in your environment. And create, this isn't a scientific term, it's not in psychology, I call them superhighways, where lightning fast connections between parts of your brain that normally aren't connected are just, rapid firing. Those are a little harder to change. That's just one of the reasons why complex PTSD is so hard to work through and change your brain with. But it is possible. It just takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But you can change how your brain is wired over time. And that's what learning is. It's wiring your brain and creating connections depending on what you're doing in your learning, whether it's learning like a fine motor skill, a gross motor skill, or whatever. Your body is creating connections between your brain and your body, between different parts of your brain. When information's coming in through your senses, what does it do with it? Depends on how your brain interprets the input.
Yeah.
Like, there was recently a visitor somewhere I'm not going to say what it was, but that person was talking and giving me the ick.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Evelyn, I said, this person's giving me the ick. Like, I don't know why, but something about them is making me go, I want to run out of the room. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're not doing anything or saying anything, but there's something about that person that I don't like. And it's probably some connection in my brain is picking up on something. Either they look similar or sound similar to something, or something about how they're handling themselves that reminds me of something else. My brain interprets it as danger.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mind's response is leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to undo that kind of thing, like if I actually talk to this person and, face to face, I'd be like on the inside,
Yeah.
but I'd be trying to be calm and kind and friendly on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really tough one to deal with. And if I want to undo that kind of thing, to be more curious about who this person is and
Mm-hmm.
handle it differently, I'd have to train myself to do that because my brain already wants to fight
Yeah.
run away.
Yeah. When I was taking psychology, I was learning a lot about the past people who were at the forefront of psychology and their theories and things. A lot of them were kind of outlandish. But I saw a lot of patterns and this is before I really understood trauma and what it meant to have complex trauma. I saw a lot of patterns and things that I didn't fully understand at the time, like certain behaviors and why people react to things the way that they do, why they do things they do, why do addicts become addicts, how do they become addicts, that kind of thing. And it was fascinating to me, but at the same time, I started to recognize some of my own patterns and some of my own problems, and I didn't really understand fully that I would need therapy for the rest of my life, or at least for a long time. But I understood it was probably going to be long term because there's just so much to get through. There's so much to understand about yourself and deal with because your brain is formed around the trauma. So you have to undo what damage you can undo and try to navigate through that and work with what you have, so to speak.
Yeah.
I just had a thought. I wonder if healing comes in. I wonder if healing for us would mean not that our trauma per se is healed, but that we've learned how to sort of manage it and work through it instead of hoping to be healed from it, to understand like how to deal with it in a way that is healthy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, what do you think? What do you mean by healed, first of all?
Well, I used to think healed meant my brain's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. I mean, normal, whatever normal was. For a long time, I believed that. And now I don't know if that's true anymore. I think it's more like learning to deal with things as they are and maturing in that way or something like that. I don't know for sure.
I always thought of healed in this sense as, like you mentioned, I would never have a problem again that was related to trauma. I would always be functionally normal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of people said that I was supposed to be striving for.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the kind of healing we're expecting, I'm not sure that we can get there, to be honest, and not in the way people expect. I wonder if healing, like you're talking about, is more of just learning to live with it and manage it better.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking about the disability thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're just learning how to live with it and learning how to live your life despite it. And healing might look more like just living life in a freer way. I don't know. What do you think, Evelyn?
It's hard for me right now to quantify it exactly because I went all the way from I'm good to I am not good and feeling almost like a hopelessness. And so now I've been navigating lately of, this path of, okay, I worked on this thing. I feel like I'm getting some traction. Oh, here comes another thing. And I just, at this point, I'm not sure what healed, really looks like. I just feel like if I can just keep growing in dealing better with whatever the latest thing that has come up, in therapy is, or in conversation that I bring to my therapist, I think in general, having an ever-growing toolbox, but becoming more and more adept at each one when things do come up is what I'm kind of hoping for at this point. It reminds me of, in our martial art, how we have various tools that we use. Not only that, we also need to learn how to use our, the ones that are attached to our bodies, our hands and
When
our
you say
legs.
tools, are you talking about our sports equipment?
Our sports equipment. So our wooden swords, our wooden staffs, any metal things you might have. I don't really have any, but Steph's got some. Various weapons that each have a different function and are used in different applications. And as we're in our martial art, it's our job to become skilled at whatever one, we're using. And I just see this going on until I finally stepped into heaven and go, whew, here we are, So I'm not really sure at this point, except just becoming more and more adept at my tools, but then there's always something else to work on and having more tools, and maybe specific tools that apply to that one.
Yeah.
I think I agree with your guys' analysis on what it means to be healed, which brings me back to therapy, because we need somebody outside of ourselves who is trained to recognize what we're talking about in a way that we can't recognize it, like call it what it is.
Yeah.
There's a popular show called Couples Therapy. I don't know if you guys have come across this on Facebook or the YouTubes, but there's the therapist's name is Orna Gralnick.
Okay.
That's a great name.
I think she's born in Israel or something, which would explain the name. And she has a slight accent, but I think she's lived here in America longer. Anyway, so she's working with all these different kinds of couples, like married couples, thruples. One person is trans. It's like a female relationship, but one of them is trans. And then, LGBT couples, all kinds of different things. And they're talking. There's one couple in particular. They're Orthodox Jewish couple. And the wife is just always upset with the husband, and she's just yelling at him all the time. And he's just sitting there like playing with his ear or his hair or whatever. And Orna is like trying to get this woman's attention and like point out what she's actually doing it and call it something. And asking her, let me help you.
Yeah.
We need people like that. These people are lost. Like, I think that couple was able to figure it out and like learn how to live with each other and be happy. Some of them ended up breaking apart, was probably for the best. But if we don't have Orna Gralnicks in the world to recognize what we're saying, like, and then call it what it is, and then offer tools, offer insight, offer ways of managing things, who's going to help us?
Right.
Like, your mom?
Right? I mean, you think about people who like they'll just start to vent to their friends, and their friends are usually like, oh yeah, it's going to be okay, or yeah, that's right, or but ultimately it feels good, but you're not really getting anywhere because you still have the same problems. And there may be somebody in there who might be able to give you some good advice. But, I remember my entree to therapy. I had gone to therapy a couple of times. Like I said, let me just get in there till I'm fixed. But after I had a, just life shattering breakdown and all the things that happened as a result, I was encouraged to go to some sort of recovery kind of group. And so I started to go to this recovery group. And they were giving a lot of really good general information, like, here's what denial looks like. Here's what you need to do to get out of denial. Here is, it was very good general information. It was very informative. But one thing they kept saying was, we are not trained psychologists or psychiatrists here. If you're, we encourage you to seek out further assistance if you believe you need it. And they kept saying that. And I remembered thinking that it worked to a certain extent, in any of these things, they say it works if you work it. But I think a lot of us need more than you can get in a recovery style group. And I kept thinking about, that idea of seeing a therapist. And I started thinking about, what would that be like to actually go in there and do it, not just to fix a specific thing that I think is a problem, but to even explore what might be in there that I don't even know is there.
Right.
And I was really surprised. My first counselor that I saw, we ended up going to some place in my childhood. I had no idea that we were going to go there. And she worked with me. She helped me to embody, like, instead of just holding it inside, she taught me this like tapping technique and everything. And I ended up not even talking about what I thought I was going to talk about. And it just, she would ask these questions and I would be like, I hadn't thought of that. And have you considered? And,
she's trained to do that. That's her
yes.
job.
And it was such a relief to be able to talk to somebody who understood, who could then guide. What I really liked about, and I've had two, thank God I had two good ones so far. The last one I've had the last few years. But just so, it's like she was helping me to see, oh, my apologies, my dog is barking.
Evelyn muted herself.
Yeah.
My dog is barking. My son is supposed to be watching the dog, and all of a sudden the dogs are down there losing their minds. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they do that whenever they suspect there's a molecule moving outside.
And the problem is, and my mom's dog is barking now. I tell you what.
Moving or not.
Sorry, guys. I hope you like dogs. But it was so nice to just be with somebody who understood. And those preconceived notions that I had just seemed so unfair.
Let me tell you something. I saw this one therapist for a while, probably a couple of years. She got in her head somehow that I was presenting a false personality and that I was being abused by my husband because we had worked on like a multiple personality thing. It's not called that anymore. It's called dissociative identity disorder. But I was diagnosed at one point about 20 years ago with that. And I don't feel like it's really an issue anymore. But at any rate, I was working with the therapist on it. We were doing some EMDR. And then we started working on that. It was like a family systems thing. And somehow she got in her head that I was denying that my husband was abusive or something. I don't know. So she called CPS or what is it called? I was going to say CPTSD, but that's not right. Child Protective Services.
Yeah, CPS.
on my family, and we had to go through an interview, and the social worker, after talking to my son, who was supposedly the other target, she's like, I don't even know why I'm here, but I have to conduct these interviews. She's like, I've already decided there's nothing going on here. So
Yeah.
that was really upsetting. So after her, I had this other therapist who had this style of relating that reminded me of going to social services and talking to the social workers there to sign up for services or whatever. Her style reminded me of that. And so I'd be talking and she'd turn away from me and start typing on her computer. And I'm like, what is she doing? Like, I couldn't relate to anything this person was doing. Then I asked once for a new therapist once more, because I told that lady, I was like, look, I can't connect with you the way that you manage yourself. It's just not working for me. So they found me a trauma, and this is something I want to talk about, a trauma-informed therapist. Unfortunately, I only got to talk to her one time because she was leaving to go care for her mother. Yeah. But my one session with her, the woman knew exactly what I was talking about.
Wow.
She said things that I could connect to. And I was like, why would they connect me to you if you're leaving?
I know,
it's so frustrating. But just then after her was the guy who called me a hypocrite. And then the guy I'm with now, he's the one I've been with for a while, but it makes such a difference. Like, I wish that woman had stayed. I would have stayed with her because I was talking about stuff with my mother and she knew exactly what I meant. And my therapist sometimes can't quite relate. Yeah. Like, I'll say things and he'll be like, And I kind of have to explain what's going on. It's not that he's a bad therapist. He's not trained in trauma recovery. He's trained in addiction recovery. He uses dialectical behavioral therapy with me for the most part. And it works. It's helping. Yeah. I'm not saying he's a bad therapist or he's not helping me. I'm just saying sometimes I wish he was a bit more trauma informed. Yeah. So when I say certain things, he could connect to that a little better. But the point I wanted to make is when you find the right person, sometimes, personalities, style of relating, stuff like that are really critical to developing. You have to get to know your therapist. You can't just walk in and act like you have a 10-year relationship with this person. You have to get to know them. They have to get to know you. Right. But their training matters, like what they know. Yeah. Because when you have CPTSD, or if you're depressed, or if you have some other condition, if they don't understand what you mean when you say certain things, they might not be able to help you. Right. Right. And really bring to you the tools that you need. Now, for me, the dialectical behavioral therapy is helping me with my addiction issues. And it's taking a long time, but it's helping. Yeah. So I think it's really important to know that the right person can help you. The right person can bring you what you need. Just any old therapist can do necessarily. Yeah.
And I think you bring up an important point too, is if the one you're with isn't working out well, don't be afraid to move on and keep looking until you find one. Because how many did you go through before, you got to the one where
it was 3.
Settle. 3. Yeah. Yeah.
Before I got to the one I'm with now.
And you may even have to change one. Like, I was thinking, who knows, over time. Mine is older. Like, she's probably a little older than me. I would guess she's probably in her 60s. So I'm thinking, when she goes, who will I be with? Or even to change for whatever reason, depending on, what I really need to work on. I think that's part of the long-term thinking. Because when my first therapist, she died.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I get this call and I'm like, what? she's canceling. Wait, she died, and I remember I went for a while without a therapist. I was stunned, and then Steph was kind of like,
Hey,
so when are you
Evelyn,
getting back in therapy, Ev? And I was
it
like,
was a
yeah,
while. Not quite a year, but it was a while.
yeah, it was. I know now that there's no way I could go that long again. That was not wise. But to be ready to pivot if you need to. And I think that's something I'm keeping in my mind as I'm thinking long term. Like Steph had one that unfortunately, had to leave the practice, or, that can happen. So just being ready to find the next one and to just keep going.
Yeah. The therapist I have is older too. I think she's in her 60s as well. And I wonder about that myself. Like, we've been working together for a while now, but I did, while she was out, a couple of times I spoke with the lady who is in charge of her practice. She owns a practice, and she's younger. I think she's probably our age, maybe a little bit younger. And she's also very good. So if I had to transition to another therapist, I think she would be, and anyone really there would be ideal. They seem to be trauma informed, and they understand what I'm dealing with. So it's helpful, and it's comforting to know that it wouldn't be a hard transition. I have had a hard time finding a therapist in the past. Some of them were a little bit too, I don't know how to put this. Like, I went for pastoral counseling off and on, and it felt a little too formulaic to me because I don't think they understood, and I didn't even really understand at the time, what it meant to be traumatized the way I was traumatized as a kid. They didn't get it. They were all about the whole, like, you just need Jesus. I mean, they would talk to me and I would tell them my
pray
problems.
It away.
They would talk to me, I would tell them my problems, but it wasn't an in-depth, like, psychoanalysis or understanding what actually was going on in my brain and why it was happening. There was no ins and outs about, or no sessions, or very little sessions about why things were happening the way they were. Whereas with a therapist who is trauma informed and not a nothing against pastors, and I know they try, but there's such a difference there in terms of how it works with a long-term therapist. No, they're not.
Unless they specialize in what I guess they would call it Christian counseling.
Mm-hmm.
But even that is limited because it's not psychotherapy. It's not psychology necessarily that they're trying to help you with. They're trying to help people with problems like, my husband annoys me when he leaves his socks on the floor. Or I'm struggling to pray every day, or stuff like that. I mean, those are problems. I'm not diminishing them at all. Or my husband doesn't help me with the kids, or how can I get my wife to pay more attention to me? Like, that is not trauma issues. It's more like everyday relationship stuff. And I think pastors can kind of help with that more easily, because I've had pastors after a couple of times meeting with them going, you know what, I think he really needs some professional help. And I was stunned at the time. I was in my 20s when that happened, and I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, but they're not, pastoral counseling is not geared towards helping people like us. They don't really know.
And certainly not long term either.
Yeah.
No.
So
I remember one time meeting with a pastor, and it was actually really good because he was like, basically, he told me, I'm out of my depth here, and you really need to look for something that will fit you better that I can't give you.
Yeah.
Which helped me to realize, kind of like what you were saying, they're good for what they're good for. It's sort of like, if I don't have a heart problem, I may not need a cardiologist.
Right.
But if I have a lung problem, the cardiologist goes, you might want to see a lung specialist.
Give you the number of the lung specialist.
Pulmonologist, yes. But I think getting it's the right person for the job, right? It's the one who's qualified, and it can take a while, but I think it's kind of like, you know how when you're in denial, you're really fighting something and you don't want it to be true. So you're fighting and fighting and fighting it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually a relief to realize, yeah, that's going to be long term. Okay, stop fighting that.
It can be. It can be a huge reality check for some people because they weren't prepared for the idea that this is long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And ongoing to the, most and or the rest of their life. I think if you're thinking about this in terms of disability, it kind of makes more sense.
Yeah, it
That would
does.
be ongoing because disabilities just don't go away.
Yeah.
Therapy is kind of the treatment for a disability. Well, it is a treatment for your disability, for this type of disability. There's no other ongoing treatment, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you are, we use the missing leg analogy quite a bit, but if you're, let's say, missing part of your hand or your arm or whatever, and you're getting a prosthesis, you have to go through training and how to use it,
Right?
So you can feed yourself, brush your teeth, put your makeup on, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think therapy is kind of the same way.
Yeah.
We're training ourselves to live with our condition and how to use our disabled brains in a way that we're not used to, in a way that may not make sense to other people or would be how they would do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned there was like some documentary of a woman who was born without arms who learned how to do everything with her feet.
Yeah.
Including cooking, writing checks, taking care of her babies, getting herself dressed, putting her makeup on. Like, you have to train to do that. And excuse me, we have to train to live our lives in a somewhat normal fashion that's productive and produces good. And I think therapy is like that. I don't think therapy in terms of like, you have this disease and now we have to, give you medication to fix you. I don't think of it that way. I think of it as training to live my life.
Right.
Right.
And even the medication, like I take medication, it helps me. It helps to bridge the gap, to a certain extent where I can function. But I go to see a med check doctor. We talk about how it's working. We talk about how I'm doing mentally and emotionally and physically too. And it's not just here's a pill to fix you. It's more here's another tool to help you function.
I've taken different kinds of antidepressants over the years. And at the time that I was taking it, it helped to, like you said, bridge the gap, make it so I could get to therapy and deal with my problems because I was too depressed to care.
Yeah.
But the pills helped me start to live my life. And then at some point I just stopped, and I haven't been on any. At one point I was taking 3 different kinds of antidepressants about 10 years ago. And I think everybody who takes psych medications probably feels the same way I did, which is I'm not sure that the side effects are worth it. Because the side effects are really like interfering with my life.
Yeah, that can happen.
I was taking something for sleep, and I was taking 2 different kinds of antidepressants, and a third thing to sort of enhance one of them or something. I don't.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's been a while, so I don't remember exactly what. And I had Xanax to help with the anxiety, and I haven't been medicated in some time. Sometimes I think I might need to be, but if only to calm down the amount of intrusive thoughts I have every day.
Yeah.
Although recently I was lying in bed just comfortable and twiddling on my phone. I think it was on a Friday night, and I was like, I'm not worried about a single thing. Look at me. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing bothering me right now. I'm hoping for more of those kinds of moments, but I'm not against medication. If you need it and it helps,
Yeah.
you should take it.
Mhm.
And it helps you to get to therapy and do the therapy work.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I say to my therapist, you've really helped me with teaching me about this. And I goes, well, you did the work. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But without your support, I don't think I could have gotten
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. It just like I had mentioned about it works if you work it. If you go to therapy, you're like, wow, those are great ideas. And like I used to do some of the time while I was learning how to, actually apply, not just gathering knowledge, oh yeah, that's great. Oh yeah, I like that. And put it away and forget about it. But
Yeah, it doesn't help if you don't apply it.
you need to actually use it. And
Sure.
I don't know why that's been so hard for me. But to actually decide and spend some time with it. I think I tend to like to just keep moving to the next thing instead of parking in what my therapist and I talked about. I have to make myself, just go back and look at your notes, And every once in a while, I'll go back. It's like some time will go by and I haven't looked at them. And then I'll go back and I'll go, whoa, this is good stuff. I should do this. And
That's
even
funny.
if, just grab one good tool and, whatever's currently happening, it's not like you have to master everything at once.
It's true.
But to go ahead and to start, I remember one of the earlier ones was awareness. Instead of being like, hit out of the blue, but to start to become aware of when things are starting to build up. And that's one that I need to continue to hone.
Yeah. Well, changing your brain, going back to the brain tree analogy,
Yeah.
changing that is difficult work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of self-awareness. Here's the thing, if you don't have self-awareness as a regular part of your life, you have to develop that first.
Yeah.
Then once you have the self-awareness, then you have to start applying it on a regular basis, like take time to sit and think about how you're feeling or what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And then you have to start working on whatever it is you're thinking about. And if you're someone like me, you have about 50 things all at once that you're working on that you're aware of. And, I can only work on so many things at once, but
yeah,
it just takes time. Like, you have to start somewhere. You have to start with something, and you have to keep practicing that thing, and you build on it, and you build on it, and you build on it. You just keep building on things. Eventually you build a whole system from the tools that your therapist has given you that makes your life functional. And if you find something that works, and like medication or a dialectical behavioral therapy acronym, because they love that. I kind of laugh about it. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I forget the first one he told me. I don't know. He doesn't really bring them up as much anymore, but anyways, back to what I was trying to say. If you start building your system with your tools, creating ways to live your life so that you can function as normally as you can, given whatever your abnormal dysfunction is. Wait, no, I just made a contradiction.
Well, it was maybe a little redundant. Abnormal dysfunction.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever your dysfunction is.
There you go.
Your abnormalities, whatever they are.
Yeah.
But you summed it up pretty well.
We're trying to compensate for those things, and you know, the clamp prosthesis my uncle had, it was just a little hook and it had 2 clamps. It was like this. I think he had to use the muscles in his arm to open and close them.
Yeah.
I think that's how that works. So he had to build the system for connecting to those muscles in his arm.
Yeah.
B, make them work in a way that opened and closed the clamps. Then be able to do it smoothly and be able to pick up objects. Like those are skills you build and create your system for, so that you have this prosthesis that makes you capable of picking objects up. Like if you want to have a cup of coffee, you want to pick it up with that prosthetic hand. You're not going to be able to do it right away.
Yeah, right. You might want to start with an empty mug as you practice.
A paper
cup. Yes.
Yeah.
Something not breakable. Yeah, and over time, I like that idea of it creating a system. Sometimes I feel like I'm just climbing this mountain over here. Oh, good, I got to the top. Climbing this one, but to realize that it's all interconnected, and a lot of times. Like take the awareness thing, for example, that's good for everything. No matter if I'm grieving, if I'm upset, if I'm getting triggered by something a coworker said, and see where it goes across, different areas.
What's a major symptom that's like the opposite of self-awareness in PTSD?
Dissociating,
right? Yeah. You're not connected to reality at all.
Right.
You're not aware of how you feel. May not even be aware of your body. You might be so disconnected from things that the only thing you have in the moment are your thoughts.
Yeah.
But the thoughts you're having aren't like clear, directional, functional thinking.
Right.
So if you're just like that, and most CPTSD people are, to begin with, then you have to become aware of the fact that that's even a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when you told me, like I was telling you about, I just feel foggy, I just feel weird, and you said the word, do you think dissociating? And I was like, I've heard of that. Is that what's going on here? And I started to explore a little further, and then I realized I dissociate a lot, especially early on. There again, it's something that talk about sort of the irony of becoming aware of dissociating.
Right. So you have to become aware of the fact you're dissociating. Now, if you have a friend who is aware of these things and can say to you, I wonder if you're dissociating, that's one thing. But if you have a therapist who knows what dissociation is, how it works, and what to do about it, if you go to your therapist and say, you know what, when I get overwhelmed emotionally, my brain gets really foggy.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, that's dissociation. And you're like, what's dissociation?
Yeah.
And then they describe it to you, and then they, tell you something you could do. I don't think most therapists won't overwhelm you with a compendium of all the things you could do about dissociation, but they might give you one thing you could try. And that's when you start building your system, like becoming aware of dissociation.
Yes.
Yeah.
B, becoming self-aware of the fact that you have dissociation as a thing.
Yeah.
C, starting to recognize when it's happening in the moment. D, do something different to sort of alleviate the dissociation.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. And that's how therapy is supposed to work when you are trying to create a better life.
Yeah.
So, so I guess what we're trying to say is don't be afraid of therapy as a tool in your toolbox. If you have trauma in your history, let yourself go. Let yourself find somebody who is good for you, and start to build your systems for living a functional life.
And don't be ashamed of it either, because I think a lot of people have been ashamed or shamed for being in therapy before.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Every once in a while, I'll just sort of casually mention about being in therapy, and it depends on who I'm with. But these days, it's more like I was talking to this lady the other day, and I just sort of casually mentioned about my therapist. She goes, "You know what? I think I probably need to get into some therapy. It's helping me, Or others will say, "Oh, you have a therapist too." They'll be like their eyes will brighten up, like, "Oh, we can talk about this." You're not going to judge me. I'm like, no, we all need help.
It's become way more common to have a therapist, and it's not so weird to say that you're in therapy.
Yeah.
I think some people are kind of saying these days that people don't need therapy as much as they think they do. Like there's been an overcompensation of mental health stuff. I don't know if I agree, because there's so many people who've been affected by divorce as children and as adults, and who experienced a lot more abuse than we realize. And
I tend to think people are waking up to the fact that their mental health, mental emotional health is affected by or has been affected by trauma. I think people are becoming aware and accepting of that more so than ever before, because like we talked about, we spent so many years everyone trying to fix themselves and attaching shame to therapy, and it's only for people who are messed up. Well, we're all messed up. I think people are waking up to the fact that we're all messed up, because you can't deny, I mean, you can certainly deny anything, but I think if we look like the lady at your job, Ev, we all know there's something wrong. I think innately kind of know that. Even if you're in denial about it, it's there deep down. And so not being ashamed of saying, yeah, I go to therapy, I need help. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think people tend to believe, like we said, they're going to fix themselves, or it's just going to go away. I've certainly talked to enough people that believe it's going to go away. Oh, the past is the past. It's fine. It doesn't affect me anymore. But their behavior says otherwise.
Yeah, that sounds like a good podcast topic. The past is not the past.
Right.
The past is in me.
Facing
the past is in me. I remember hearing that statement going, "Oh, that explains everything." Thank you.
Yeah, I think I was the one that said that to you.
Yeah, and then it's funny. It's sort of like when you get a certain car and then you start to see it. Like I started noticing, or I would hear somebody say it. Like let's say I was listening to one of the really good psychiatrists, psychologists we like to listen to, and he's going. He said that sort of thing, and I was like, yes, it's true. But yeah, validation. And if you think maybe you don't need help, why don't you go get evaluated by a professional and find out? You got nothing to lose. I mean, I remember going in there thinking, how much do I need to know about this? How much do I need to explain to this person? And it turns out it's weird. They knew the questions to ask.
Funny how training and education works.
They're trained.
Like they're trained.
It's like they're trained or something. What?
Yeah, I mean, I looked into becoming a therapist myself, which is why I have a psychology degree. And when I got to the part where you would get your master's degree in counseling, I got intimidated by the process because it's pretty rigorous. Like, they don't just put you through a master's program and then like, have fun. No. That's not how that works. After you get done with your coursework, which takes about 3 years, and you have to go through an interview, like a job interview, to even be accepted into the program. Once you've gotten that far, you have to spend a lot of time. I forget how long it is in the state of Delaware, but you have to spend a lot of time under supervision. And you have to find somebody who's willing to supervise you, and you usually have to pay them.
Yeah.
Right? I think one of my therapists told me they had to pay something like a total of $10,000 for this practicum they had to do. And so they're running they're doing therapy, but they're going to someone and talking about how it went
Yeah.
and getting advice and maybe correction or whatever. So it's pretty rigorous, and some people specialize in certain things, so there's additional training.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's not like any Joe could walk off this. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a technicality where you can call yourself a counselor. I don't know if it's still true. At least it was true a few years ago here in Delaware. You can call yourself a counselor. You cannot call yourself a therapist
Okay.
unless you
Mhm.
have the training and the license. Oh, that's the other
Yeah.
thing. You have to get a license,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't practice without one, which means you have to pass your, program, pass your practicum, and then I think you take a test,
Mhm.
and then you get your license.
Yeah.
And that takes, I don't know, the whole thing probably takes about 6 years, maybe longer. But you can call yourself a counselor. You just can't call yourself a therapist.
Therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
That's the
a huge
difference.
difference between the two things. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's been
About an hour and 10 minutes. Trying to see without your glasses.
oh, hey, you look like people
Ooh.
We're
So
not
do
blobs
you.
anymore. What?
You look like a person with glasses.
with blue
Blue.
blobs.
Blue blobs.
Yeah.
These readers are blue tinted, which
Mhm.
is why they reflect blue.
Ah.
If I do this, you can see my ring light.
Nice.
I have
I'm
to
not
hold
even
my
wearing
Oh my
mine.
I have to
gosh.
wear my hold my
Never
head
mind,
like this
but-
so you don't see the
The blue.
blue tint. But
Yeah.
then it's reflecting the screen
Screen.
back at me. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. Anyway, should I sum up?
Why
Yes.
don't you? Why
Okay.
don't you?
All right. So we're talking about the fact that we need long-term therapy, maybe the rest of our lives, and how it's an important tool in your toolbox
Mm-hmm.
when you have ongoing disability type situation like complex PTSD, for example. Excuse me. Because the trained person knows what you're talking about and can recognize what you're saying, name it, and then give you ways to help yourself. And therapy is really training to live your life in a functional way.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you would train to use a prosthesis or some other wheelchair or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what are those things called? Crutches or any
Yeah.
number of things you might have to learn how to do in order to live your life. Maybe you're the person with no arms who learns how to do everything with their feet.
Yep.
But at least I think of therapy, and I think we all kind of agree of therapy as sort of a training
Yeah.
It
to
is.
to not necessarily overcome, but just learn how to manage what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because our brains are trying to overthrow us and shut us down and trying to overwhelm us and make us run away and fight and all the things that aren't actually helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our brains are wired for danger.
Yeah. That's
and
true.
we can't always tell the difference between what's just normal and what's actually dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we need a trained person to help us. And so I'm okay with the idea of long-term therapy at this point in my life because
Yeah. Same here.
I've tried the short-term therapy and it just never was enough.
Yeah.
And I thought it could be done. People told me I could be done, but that has just never worked out in my favor. In fact, it's been detrimental at times.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you're needing medications or whatever, please, follow the advice of your doctor, your psychiatrist, whatever. Take your medications as long as they're helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And, don't be ashamed or afraid of these things. Psychotherapy, psychology, neuroscience, they're all good things. Even if there are some quacks and fakes and weirdos out there,
Yeah.
doesn't mean the
doesn't mean
whole
it's all
thing is
bad.
bunk.
Right.
Some of it might be, but not all of it. And there is actually a lot of good out there. And start to live your life. Start to get the help you need.
Yeah.
And start making a difference in your own life, and start being happier.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
It's possible. It's possible to be happier with all this.
Yes.
And there is freedom in facing reality. It's difficult, but you can see finally. It's like coming out of the fog. Okay. Here's what's going on. Talking to the therapist. Here are the tools I can use. And then continuing to, as we like to say, keep going and keep growing.
Yep.
Keep going.
Keep growing.
All right. Are we at that time?
Yes.
We're at that time. So, if you like this, what you've heard, if a lot of it is rung a bell, why don't you ring the bell and
push all the buttons.
Push all the buttons.
Push all the buttons. Do all the things.
Tell your friends. Share. If somebody came to your mind while you were listening to this, like, I think this would be really helpful for her or him, or more than one person, feel free to, tell them about us and share the love.
Yeah, share the love, share the knowledge, share the encouragement, because we're really trying to be encouraging here.
Yes.
We're trying to be vulnerable and share our lives, share our insights, share our experiences, so that you can benefit.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Oh, I remember back in the day I had a blog, and that was always at the end of the blog. Sharing is caring. That was the thing people said.
Yeah, that was the thing. Also, if you guys have anything that you want to share with us, feel free to weigh in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you and interact in there. Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
But be nice.
Yeah, I mean,
you can tell us we suck, but be nice about it.
Yeah, don't be a troll. Please be kind. Rewind. No.
Wait,
wrong era.
That's another thing people used to say.
Wrong lever, crunk. Actually, it's like a wrong era.
Yeah, wrong era.
So be kind. Skip the rewind part.
Who still has VHS?
My son, believe it or not, he just bought he was very excited about this TV. He confirmed it worked from Goodwill. It has a VHS player and a DVD player.
Okay.
And attached in it?
Yeah.
You used to be able to buy that. I had one of those.
It's right there at the bottom underneath. So he was pretty excited. He's like, I got this for $5 and it works.
I had one of those for a long time. It did VHS and DVD. It was all one thing. But I have a rewinding machine.
We used to have one of those.
A VHS player, and I still have tapes that I play.
I remember our rewinding machine. I know we're getting way off course here, but Gen X, I'm looking at you. We used to have this rewind thing that looked like a car. So you pushed it down and immediately it was, sound like the car was running. I used to love that thing.
Well, anyway. We got off track with the rewind thing. I immediately thought of Blockbuster.
Same here.
Calling out the Gen X guys.
Well, anyway, have a good whatever when you listen to this. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Rochelle Knapp.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you got some food for thought and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. See you next time. For more episodes, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Comment, like, and subscribe to spread the word and help the channel grow.